Welcome to the Eurostep Brit podcast.
Game's going to be decided here. Harold spots up. Doesn't go. Put back is good! Roberto Gallina with a second chance opportunity. Aris lead. Per Gunter for three. Got it. Per Gunter drei Punkte. Courage inside. For Gordon for the dunk. Ball game.
Hello and welcome to episode 5 of the Eurostep Brit podcast. We'll call this episode Plan B or Not Plan B. As a famous rock band once sang, you can't always get what you want. I had expected to do another in-depth interview this week, but at the last minute, it didn't happen. I'm hoping I can reschedule that one soon, but it left me thinking, okay, now what? The easiest option would have been to say, you know what, I can skip a week and get ready for the next scheduled interview. And then I thought, no, let's try an experiment. What I came up with is that I'd go to a Super League game at the weekend and do a series of short interviews. And for a bit of fun, or maybe just to torture myself, I was going to wing it. No extensive notes or research, just get someone on the mic and ask them a few questions. Believe it or not, it's actually a good practice because there are times you'll be on air and suddenly you have to do an interview that you did not have time to prepare for. The game that best fitted for me was the Surrey versus London game on Saturday. I contacted the Niners and they were happy to have me come along. So, when I left home on Saturday afternoon, the only definite interview I knew I was doing after the game would be Niners coach Lloyd Gardner. Everything else would be determined by how the evening panned out. So, right, let's get on to interviews and stick around because there's 5 coming up. By the time I got to Surrey Sports Park, I had an idea of something I wanted to try. We've heard in recent episodes how the events this summer affected those at various clubs, but what about the fans? So I managed to get a couple of willing volunteers, one from Surrey, another from London, for them to recap their personal experiences of the summer's events. First up, John Lanning. John is a long-time supporter, season ticket holder, and has also been a club sponsor at times. Whatever the name of the shirt, John has embraced professional basketball in Guildford over the years. Let's hear what he had to say.
John, you've been a long-term fan of this franchise in Guildford. What's it been like for you as a fan? You've been a sponsor, of course, in the past as well.
Absolutely.
This summer, with all the uncertainty, what's it been like for you personally?
It started off, I think, when we heard about the league folding, the BBL. It could be an absolutely awful time ahead. Having spent many, many years down here at the sports park watching top flight basketball in Guildford, it could have been taken away. So the first thing, having the league back, that looked great. But then hearing what was happening with Scorchers, there was a lot of very sad faces around. So the 89ers coming in, absolutely delighted.
Did you ever think at some point, you know what, I think that's it for basketball in Surrey or even the league?
A lot of us thought that. There's a lot of hardcore supporters been around the Guildford scene for a while. And I think the general consensus was we'll be incredibly lucky if we see top flight basketball back here again. And we are incredibly lucky.
And of course, during the summer, we had that crazy day where the university comes out with a release that the Surrey Scorchers are no more. And then literally a few minutes later, the Surrey 89ers are born. I mean, yeah, what do you feel about, obviously, Dan Clark and Jody Jackson taking on the mantle of keeping professional basketball alive in Guildford?
Well, I was lucky enough not to hear the first announcement or see the first announcement, so I got them both pretty much together. Dan and Jody have done an amazing job getting everything together in time. What they've put together, the team, the infrastructure for the club here, still back at the sports park. Fans are absolutely delighted to have a team to support.
And of course, it's no good for an audio podcast, but you're already wearing the merch. You've bought into the new team. You've been seeing the pre-season games?
Oh, yep. Saw the first one against Hemel. Yeah, we are green. We're very, very green. And again, the fans seem to like it. I like it.
And what's your early thoughts of this squad? Obviously, mixture, old faces and new.
It's an interesting one. I'm delighted to see some of the old faces back because we know them. They're great players. They've got a great history with us here. New players look very, very exciting. It looks a good blend. I'm hopeful, but I'm always hopeful.
I mean, ran the club. I was around the club well for years, had all these losing seasons. We just finished by, what was it like for you last year when the Scorchers made it back into the postseason? It's the first time since 2018.
We'd been after the playoffs for so long. It wasn't right for us to be out before the playoffs. And we gave the guys a rousing reception in the first playoff game or the playoff game. It's where Guildford club should be.
Any hopes for this season? Where do you think Surrey can go? Or is it too early to tell? Because obviously all the fluidity in the league.
I'm always an optimist, but I'm gonna hold back on this one because I've yet to see the teams, including our team against league opposition. So this first game is going to be interesting, and look forward to seeing what we can do.
John, thank you for popping on the podcast today.
Thank you, Niall.
That's a Surrey fan's perspective. So what about London? Phil Grove started supporting the Lions after they moved to the capital and has followed them all over the UK and Europe, witnessing some of the greatest games in their history. Here's his take on the summer just gone. So Phil, you've been a Lions fan since they moved to London. You know, you've seen some really good highs and lows. You've been on a lot of trips with the team.
Sure.
Just talk us through how it's been for you as a Lions fan this summer.
Well, that's right. I mean, highs and lows really, really summarises it, doesn't it? We had the women and the amazing European victory. And even then we were aware that things weren't going right. We were starting to get worried about things. And yeah, like most British basketball fans, this summer has just been a really, really difficult one. Obviously, you're thinking about the staff and the players, but obviously we're a community as well and worried about that.
So when did you start to think we might lose our team, our league? When did it really start sinking in for you?
I mean, we'd heard rumours, but I think when it started to sink in was with the women's team and the announcement around the women's team in Europe. And we started to think things might be really tough and you hoped against hope. But as the summer wore on, things got worse and obviously then culminated in the High Court.
At any point, did you think, I might not have a team here next season?
Yeah, loads of points, absolutely loads of points. And, I think the last game we played at the Copper Box of last season, I mentally started saying goodbye to it and started saying goodbye to people, saying goodbye to the team. And so actually, when I made the journey up to Cheshire to watch one of the pre-season friendlies and it felt like seeing a friend, who you've been worrying about come back to life, and it was a really emotional moment for me, as was today.
So how did it feel for you when the stories started coming around about the people with Zalgiris background and ownership? How did it feel to you thinking, hang on, we might just have a team after all?
Yeah, well, we had the kind of the false dawn of it and the announcement that was an announcement. And some of the Lions fans had actually been in Lithuania, randomly went to a Zalgiris game. So, we knew of Zalgiris obviously through their amazing reputation. So it was a hope against hope. And then the news started coming out and it was really just an amazing feeling. You think about the staff who work so hard behind the scenes. You think about the fact that I bought my 7-year-old nephew who's an absolutely obsessive London Lions fan. And it's really nice that they'll still be around for us to all enjoy that and to have that community and be with our fellow friends and fans.
Now, you've been a fan since the franchise relocated to London. You went to Crystal Palace, is that right?
That's right, yeah.
And you, like you mentioned, obviously, the Holgate family went to Lithuania. You've been on a lot of trips away with the Lions, especially since, obviously, Eurocup. Mm. What's it been like for you as a Lions fan, just the chance to go out to new places, follow the team around? What's it been like?
It's been amazing. And I think as fans in Glasgow, Bristol and Newcastle will have found that, it's just amazing seeing new teams, new players you hadn't heard of, new experiences. It's been absolutely incredible. And sometimes you sort of, you rub your eyes to really think, we were playing in Badalona on a court, stacked with history. We were playing in Cluj and won with all those amazing fans. And, you'd hear them and see them and the hairs would stand up on the back of your neck because it was just such an incredible experience. So yeah, it's been absolutely wonderful, and I'm very glad that that's not all gone now. We've got that experience, we've got that ability to travel and see the London Lions and in the Super League basketball.
And hopefully, if everything goes all right this season, another chance in foray into Europe.
Oh, that would be great, absolutely. And At the moment, I'm just feeling really, blessed that we've got the Lions back, and that we're not sitting looking on watching other teams in the Super League. But yeah, obviously we would love to go back into Europe, and I think that would be what every Lions fan, I think every British basketball fan would dream, to see their team in Europe. And yeah, hopefully that will happen. But at the moment, it's just so great to see the Lions back in action, and a day that a lot of times in the summer I didn't think I'd see.
And how's it going to feel when you step foot back in the copper box again for a Lions game?
Really emotional. Actually, I can feel myself getting a bit emotional now.
It's a shame this is in the video podcast because your face completely changed. Like you can't wait for it, can you?
Yeah, can't. Absolutely not. It is home, and it's it's special. It's got lots of memories, and I just can't wait to be back. And it's going to feel a bit weird because, as I said, the time when the last game of the season that we played at the Copper Box, I mentally said goodbye. We were taking photos of each other, because we're obviously a group of friends, a group of fans that travel a lot and see each other week in, week out. So yeah, we'd mentally said goodbye. And yeah, it's just an amazing feeling. And yeah, I think it is going to be a bit emotional getting into the Copper Box, but bring it on. I can't wait.
Before we get into the next interview, if you indulge me, a little trip down memory lane, and a reason why I've still got lots to learn about podcasting. Years ago, back in the days of the Heat and then United and the early days of Scorchers, when I was writing for newspapers and websites, I used to record my interviews at Surrey in the hallway outside the changing rooms. Now, when you're going to transcribe the audio afterwards, it's fine. There's always noise, but as long as you can make out what they're saying, it's not a problem. After all, it's going into print, isn't it? Or onto a website. But that doesn't work when you want to do an audio podcast. You need, obviously, cleaner audio. After the game on Saturday, as I said earlier, I'd arranged to speak to the Niners coach, Lloyd Gardner. So we met in the corridor outside the Surrey locker room. But as I go to start recording, there's an issue. In the ceilings of the sports park are speakers, and on this occasion they happened to be playing music through them. Music which is likely to cause a copyright issue. So we go to one of the vacant locker rooms. It's quiet, but no sooner have we sat down, there's music coming through a speaker. So we try another corridor, and guess what? Yep, there's a speaker in the ceiling there, and there's music. I was today years old when I realised that every corridor at the sports park has a speaker in the ceiling with music playing. In the end, we did the interview outside the back door, and despite the noise from the nearby busy A3, it was a lot easier to remove traffic noise than it ever is to remove music from audio. So, on to the interview itself, and it was a good night for Surrey, who defeated the Lions in the home opener, and Lloyd Gardner was able to start season number 3 in Guildford with a win. I wanted to not only get Lloyd's take on the game, but also take a little look back at last season and the events of the summer. Without further ado, let's get to it.
Lloyd, first game back, Lions, trophy. You're up 22 points. They came back to one possession at the end there, but you managed to get a couple of really important free throws at the end to get it over the line. Just your thoughts on the game tonight.
Yeah, I thought really good for 3 quarters, pleased. They went on a run second quarter, and I didn't think we kind of managed momentum well. Thought, fourth quarter, obviously, we kind of dried up a little from the field. Thought we looked a little leggy. Obviously, we're a couple of guys down, as Lions were today. And then, Andrew kind of took a knock to the knee as well. So, we felt a little thin-handed. Thought we just run out of tempo, really, as we tried to manage the game. That's something for us to learn. A lot of, young guys on the floor for us at the end. And I thought they did a good job. Obviously, not the finish we wanted. But, as you said, to get a win at home is great start for us. And, yeah, winning ugly, we'll take all season long.
And I suppose it's even better to get the win because this is the start of a new era for the club.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, I mentioned momentum in the game, momentum with lots of things. I remember being here in Scorchers days and, you're looking at the start of the season and having a rough run of games and thinking, crikey, and then 1 or 2 injuries later, we're 0-5 and really struggling. So, yeah, wins are important. Wins make you feel good. It's a lot easier to kind of, come into work on a Monday and look at all the things that we did wrong, knowing that we got the win at the end. And as you said, it's a great start for a new organisation. I don't care who Lions had missing. They still had a lot of quality. anytime you've got a team with the quality that they do have, albeit in thin numbers today, it's a good win.
And who stepped up for you today?
Yeah, I thought Dane was excellent. The big thing, he didn't get into foul trouble, which he'd done in pre-season a couple of times. Thought it was a mature performance for him. I thought Cam was excellent. Obviously, the veteran leadership of Andrew Lawrence as well. We got high expectations for Mervyn James to come in and do well. It's his first game today. He's still kind of, late joining us. So I think he's still finding his feet. And obviously, Jalen Ray is a guy that we know and we think is one of the best backcourt players in the league. And he wasn't playing today, nor was Raekwon Brown either. So
when you came into the club, you knew obviously the Scorchers' history, the struggles they had. Obviously, you had a rough first season, to be fair to say, but you got them back into the playoffs last year. I just want to go back to last year. How did that feel for you? Because like I said, it had been 6 years since they'd last made the postseason.
Yeah, I think, as a coach, it's probably bittersweet, to be honest, because, if you said to me start the season, we make the playoffs, you'd be happy. And then you kind of look at it at the end of the season, or when you get into the business end and you're frustrated about the couple that you slipped, so you really feel like you shouldn't. And then I looked at it, I think we were 4 or 5 games away from 4th place. And then you count the games, go, if we'd won that one, or we threw it away, if we'd won that one, where we threw it away. A bit like today, to be honest with you. Where we've had a lead and we couldn't hang on. So that's why, again, today was, a mature performance for us, I thought. And, obviously there is carryover from Scorchers, but we feel like we're a young club, a club that's kind of heading in the right direction, but we're still, we're not where we want to be. On the floor, off the floor, resource-wise, we're still, behind other clubs. I don't think we're shy about saying that, but at the same time, I think that gives us an opportunity. So 2, 19-year-olds out on the floor today playing decent minutes for us, and that's a product of our budget and where we're at, and it's great for them and it's great for us.
What has it been like this summer with everything that's going on? I'm talking from a personal point of view. Did you ever worry at some point there might not be a club, you might not have a job, you might be the league?
Yeah, I would say, well, 2 separate things. The league, I was relatively comfortable. Just, I'm not part of those conversations. That would be Dan and our management, Jody Jackson as well. And they were always relatively confident that something was going to be sorted between the teams, that the clubs, had a strong group together that wanted to drive things forward and felt like they had plans in place no matter what happened. So I was, listening to them and was relatively confident. Obviously, from our club side, it's been, a bit of a whirlwind as well. But Dan and Jody specifically done just a tremendous job away from the floor. And, even now, we kind of got together earlier in pre-season, but there's still lots of things that we're still trying to piece together and get back together, to be really organised. So, yeah, it's been a crazy off season. Don't think it's often like this one, but I think for the long term, of both the league and also us as an organisation, I think that actually, there's more pressure on us now internally, but I think that's going to help us. And I think actually the room for growth is probably larger. Our upside is probably larger with the changes that have been made.
And what did it feel like for you? Like I said, everything's happened this summer, sitting on that bench at the start of the game. Did you feel any different?
Well, different colour kit.
Yeah.
And then, no, not really. I mean, like I say, a lot of familiar faces for us. So there are changes, there are big differences, but at the same time, we've got a core of players we've had before. A lot of familiar faces, which I think is a good thing. And I think, forget us being Scorchers or Niners. I think that, like I said, our organisation, we saw it as a long project that we feel like we're trending in the right direction, but we know that we've got work to do. And I think that, the Niners, yeah, it means, like I said, I do feel like we've got this potential to grow bigger and quicker now, but it's going to take a lot of work behind the scenes from a lot of people.
From the coach to the players, and as I pointed out earlier, I had no idea before the game who I wanted to speak to. I decided to let the game dictate that. And if you watched the game, it dictated that one of those I'd like to speak to was Cam Gooden, the guard who led the charge early and finished as the Niners' leading scorer of 21 points.
Cam, obviously you're back with Surrey for a second season. It's a new club, new kit, new colours. Firstly, how's it feel to be back in Guildford?
Man, it's honestly a blessing. I'm grateful to come back and do what I love as a living, play basketball, and just the fans, the energy, the community. It's all love here.
Big game against the Lions to start you off. Obviously, you guys struggled against them last season, the team they had. Tonight, you're up 22 points at one point. They came back and made it one possession. before I think as Dame got the free throws and got you over the line. Just your thoughts on tonight's game.
I think it was good from the good points and bad points. We can all learn from it. We started out, we set the tone great. We got up 20. And then at the end, we got sloppy. We're going to watch film and regroup, but we also got the win at the end of the day, which that's all that matters.
I mean, you started your game on fire, didn't you? I mean, I think you had 8 of the first 12 points or something. You know, was that your plan to like come out aggressive?
Yeah, just last year when I was healthy and feeling good, you know, I felt like I didn't take advantage of my opportunities. I was trying to be more of a typical pass first point guard, which I know how to switch that filter on at times, but I need to just come out and aggressive, be myself. And that's what my coaches, the veterans on the team have just been telling me since I got here from day one. So
obviously there was a lot of doubt about league, clubs, everything over the summer. What does it feel like to be back? Because obviously I know you had injury issues at some point last year, but you obviously enjoyed your first year in Guildford.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed it. And it's good because selfishly, for my personal reasons, it's good for me to be back in an opportunity where I can excel and kind of have that freedom to grow as a player on and off the court and leadership role-wise. So I was excited to see that we were able to work out something with the Super League. So I'm super grateful.
And just what was it like at the end of the game when you guys got over the line and got that win? What was everyone saying if it's clean enough?
Yeah, it feels good. Obviously we're gonna watch film and coach is probably gonna say some things about the game, but it's a win, and just hearing that buzzer, hearing the fans, the energy from the crowd, like that's what you live for. If you really love to hoop, like that's what you dream of as a kid. So
I mean, obviously last year was a tough year, but the Scorchers, as they were, got into the playoffs. So it must be really good to have a win to get you rolling.
Yes, sir. We're just trying to build on what we did from last year. Last year was last year, but something to build on. And obviously we started the season right with a win. So we're just looking to keep building the culture here in Surrey.
From the back court to the front court, and our last player interview for this episode. The obvious candidate to speak to was Dame Adelekun, the Niners rookie who not only recorded a double-double of 20 points and 13 rebounds, but was the guy who put the game to bed after a ferocious late Lions comeback. The fans in Guildford love a player who can rebound and score, and if opening night is anything to go by, he will quickly become a fan favourite. We not only talked about the game, but also what it's like as a rookie player heading overseas for the first time.
Right, Dane, welcome to the pod. This is your first professional season. You're here in Guildford. What's it been like for you so far?
It's been lovely so far. I have no complaints. I really like the Surrey area. It feels very comfortable to me. I quote it aesthetically. It reminds me a lot of New Hampshire and the New England in general. I guess it's in the name a little bit. But I'm loving it. Very close to London. I like the team. I feel very comfortable and really acclimated so far.
Obviously, this is your first year out of college. It's all new for you. Was England a good choice for you because maybe the language or the culture, or you just the best offer that came along?
To be honest, I guess it was a combination of all of it. I definitely really enjoyed the fact, because I know a lot of professional basketball places, a lot of it is not as metropolitan or not very uncomfortable, more of a pure basketball decision. And I was very blessed to have an opportunity where I believe I could both excel athletically, but also be in a both English speaking area and a pretty close to a metropolitan area, have both the good living experience and a good basketball experience all together.
So let's talk about the game tonight. Guys got off to a really good start. You know, you led by 20 points over twice during the game, and then they made that run at the end, and then you get that chance to go to the free throw line and ice it from the stripe. I've got to ask you, before I ask you about the game, what was going through your head?
2 words: Dame time. At my old school, I was known as their team's closer. Like I've never had the best free throw percentage per se, but always end of the game. I could count about 3 or 4 games last year where I closed out games at the free throw line, so I felt very comfortable going up. I was like, I've been here, done this before. I felt very, very comfortable, to be honest.
And then the game itself. I mean, like I said, Dave, you got up big. You were 22 points up in that second half, and they made that run.
I was just like, I especially learning the league and just pro basketball. It's a game of runs. Like I was just there, like we're up, but they're a very talented team. They have a lot of players who get hot, so I never really felt too comfortable with the lead. I kind of expected them to go on a run. It got a little out of hand per se. I had a couple turnovers myself. I got to take accountability for, but it was just kind of like. It was, I still kind of feel it now. The game, this felt a lot really intense, like, okay, like we really have a chance of losing this game. We have to tie it up. So that was really the main thing going in my head. It's like, we can't let this go, but we have to keep doing what we have to do to win this game. And barely we ended up getting through it.
Yeah, of course, you got it done in the end, which is the main thing. Because obviously Surrey have had some troubles over the years as a winning programme, but you've come in and the guys have won day one, got that win over Lions team. Yeah, you must be really pleased the fact that you've started with a win.
I'm very pleased. You can a good motto from my old school is winning is fun. It's the best thing that they can feel. My goal is not to be complacent though. I want to keep on winning. I think we have enough talent to be a really competitive team in this league. So my goal is to help us keep doing that.
What have you found the team like? Your new teammates and your coach. What's it been like for you?
I find it I've really enjoyed this team. I feel like we have a lot of good team chemistry with a good balance of American guys that kind of remind me of my boys back at home. I feel really cool with a lot of my teammates around my age from the British side of things. And I call them my OGs, Teo and Drew. I feel like they gave me a lot of good advice. I really like hearing their point of view and their experience. Practice is really fun. You can ask Lloyd about it. We do a lot of trash talking during practice, so it's always kind of fun. We do a lot of playing. I feel like we have a lot of talent, a lot of skill. It's really more just, I say the biggest thing for us is creating our identity. I feel like we're forming it as of now, but I think our identity could be a team that has me as a really good paint presence off of pick and roll and driving, and then having a lot of shooters to space us out, our unique ball screen coverage and whatnot. But I feel like the tape will tell. I feel like the biggest thing is just creating a good identity that you know you're going to get from us every day.
Give you an idea for another question. Obviously, American abroad, your first season in the UK, obviously other Americans on the team. Have they helped you acclimatise to living over here?
Okay, it's kind of interesting because two of our Americans, especially the rookies, came in after me. So I kind of went through the whole acclimation process kind of by myself, weirdly enough. Cam and Jalen gave me a lot of good advice. They showed me a couple cool things to go through, a couple good foods and whatnot. So they definitely helped me a lot with acclimating to the area. But it was kind of interesting because it's kind of like those two helped me acclimate in a couple of days. And then we had Quan come in. I had to help him out kind of. And then we had Merv come in. And it's kind of like the best way to learn is to teach. So it's kind of cool having to tell them like, oh, this is the type of food to eat. Here's how the culture is. Here's how the practice is going to be like. It's going to help me acclimate a lot better, if that made sense.
No, that's fine. It's obviously, I suppose it helps build the chemistry very quickly then, because you're all pitching in to help each other, aren't you?
It is. Also, I got pretty hip to a lot of the lingo around here. I feel I know about in it. I know how to say in it. I know about bruv. I sound very American right now. It's quite interesting. Like this is if you in America, I'm known for not having an accent. Like I just sound very generic, but being here, having an American accent is very unique. That's the biggest thing about living here is being told I have an accent or not sounding like everybody. That's probably the most unique thing in my experience so far.
I'd try and come back late in the season and see if you picked up a Surrey accent then, okay.
I'll be very interesting if I pick up a Surrey accent. I guess I'll add to the list of things I got, I guess.
Brilliant. And then just finally, just for a bit of fun, obviously you're away from home. If you could have a little wish list of stuff you could either have sent over, maybe food or access to a TV channel, say you can't get here, what would you like to have?
Okay, I'm about to fire off. Okay, I wish there was ice machines here. I love drinking cold drinks, and the ice not being common here is kind of
Stay in hotels, you'll be fine.
Nextly, I miss my drying machine. I like the fun of using the drying racks or whatnot, but sometimes when I want to do a lot of laundry real quick, I know the drying machine's kind of a tough adjustment. I miss Hulu. Do you know what Hulu is?
Mm-hmm.
I miss Hulu. I was really trying to watch Snowfall while I was out here, but that kind of changed my plans. And like, this is not like a wish list thing, but like the time difference, like, especially with like me being older and a lot of my friends working like 9-to-5 jobs, it's like, my free time is never during their free time.
So what time zone would they be in? What, 5 or 6 hours behind?
6 or 7 hours, depending if they're in the central or
Central Midwest.
Central Midwest.
So it'd be 6 or 7.
6 or 7, yes. So it's like I get back from practice. I want to maybe text or call one of my friends. I'm like, oh, they're in the middle of work. Like I can't really do anything right now. That's my little wish list. Besides that, nothing else. At the same time, I have a list of things I wish I could take from here back to the United States, however. So I can't complain. I try to be a very optimistic individual.
Well, thank you very much for doing this interview.
No problem. Pleasure was mine.
Well, That's it for this episode. My thanks to all my guests and also to Dan Clark and Jody Jackson at the Surrey Niners for all their help in getting these interviews sorted. I wish them all the best as they start a new era for basketball in Guildford. If you're enjoying what we do, please make sure to like, subscribe, or even share the pod on your social media. Every little bit of support helps. Until next time, my name's Niall Gray. Thanks for listening. You've been listening to the Eurostep Brit podcast, a hoops and hockey production.